I don't think I heard that.
Grandmama told me I had Indian in my family. Grandmama told me I had Indian in my family. I ain't know nothing about no damn slavery, you know. It was New York, be on my square a couple years ago. Then I found out I was a block foot to let me go. Daddy, yeah. Round the world, all indigenous. I'm from behind the clan, American Indian. We came in the land from my ancestors, the villages, from the raping and the pillaging, from the Jim Crow laws killing us. The land rights, the birth rights, these pilgrims are still stealing them. With the Arabs and the Asians in the neighborhoods stealing them. Grandmama told me I had Indian in my family. Grandmama told me I had Indian in my family. I ain't know nothing about no damn slavery, you know.
Osio, halato, sego, chimachukwa. What's happening, beautiful ones? It's a beautiful day in Indian country. It's a wonderful time to be alive. Welcome to Urban Indian Country News, where we, the people, are the news now. You know that's how we giving it up. I got my beloved co-host, Dr. Fontaine, aka Corn Pop, and we got Brother Ish here. How do I say? We're not here to beg for nobody's permission to be Indian. We're here to talk a little bit about what was taken, how it was taken, and who was living off the erasure ever since. There's a lot of lies baked into, modern history and what people's perception of who the Indians are. But we're going to make sure that we talk a lot about the paperwork, how the budgets changed by reclassification. Civil rights organizations that built empires on our disappearance, not with whips, not with guns, with forms, categories, and funding frameworks. Okay. Yes, indeed. We got a couple of topics, and I'll give you a brief synopsis. The Urban League, going back to 1966 with Brother Ish. We'll be talking about Greenland. Of course, we're going to be talking about Chief Warhorse and the amazing things that are happening in Truth and History in Louisiana. How y'all doing? What's up, y'all? See y'all.
Osio Moon, how you doing?
I am well,
Doc.
cuz.
Good.
Don't see
So
you.
good to see you. Yeah, we into another good season of stuff, and it's so good to be able to see y'all for sure.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes, sir. We got you, Doc.
Good to see all the intelligent engines and viewers out there. Glad y'all could pull up in this snowy day in the Eastern Woodlands. Good to see you both, Phoenix and Brother Ish. Can't wait to get in the nitty gritty of what's going on in Indian country, because it's a lot.
Yes, sir. Got some excellent updates to start off the new season. I agree.
And, just so the audience knows that this stuff is still happening right now in federal policy, philanthropy.
I think the button just got pushed, Phoenix. I can't hear you when I'm mute.
Yes, it did. I don't know how far or how much you heard, but I was just saying there's no need
to philanthropy, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they that's how they've been holding a lot of things against us through federal policy and philanthropy. And I said representation also, or lack thereof, right? For the misclassified and reclassified. We ain't had no representation. There's never been representation. And that's by design. And that's some of the stuff we're going to talk about. Because you can definitely drive the car right now.
For sure. Yeah.
Give us a
no
synopsis of what's going on.
Okay. That's no problem. We'll give you some updates on some things that we've been working on behind the scenes and staying busy and making sure that things get addressed properly. And we can give some updates of what's going on the website. That's firsttribenation.com. And we have the share screen up.
There you go.
Okay. Anybody can get the updates on firsttribenation.com. What we did was we just completed a 3-part expose article. And the topic was really dealing with the Urban League and some of the things of what they were doing as far as the erasure of the indigenous people. It's very important to understand the context of what the Urban League was supposed to represent originally. It was originally set up in 1910 because there was an influx of people that were migrating from the South into the urban cities. So the migration into the urban cities was saying that, they were helping to facilitate this. That was the original reason. They have a whole listing of people that they were supposed to represent. Black people, meaning the Negro population, American Indians, Mexican Americans. This is all in writing as far as who they were supposed to represent. So when they started setting this up, mind you, one of the founders of the Urban League, Miss Fortune, she was the wife of T. Thomas Fortune. She is a Seminole Indian. So she understood her identity in even founding the Urban League. So what we set up here was in 1966, the Urban League had a national convention in Philadelphia. It was the 56th annual National Urban League Convention. It says here that newspapers reported that speeches and resolutions, the key part is the resolutions that were made in 1966. In that resolution, originally, it was listed as the parts were representation of indigenous citizens because they were supposed to represent the urban Indians, those who were leaving the South and coming into the cities. They erased the word indigenous citizens and then made it into Negro. That's fraudulent. You have to have consent in order to, it's called administrative ethnocide. I didn't even know what that term was, right? That administrative ethnocide of erasing indigenous people and making them into Negroes was for the purpose of them being able to get funds from private philanthropy that Phoenix Moon was just talking about, as well as federal dollars. This was identified in real time because this convention was August 1st through August 4th, 1966. The newspapers were pointing out that after the substitution of indigenous for Negro in the text, this was in the Gettysburg Time, August 4th, 1966, this single sentence casually printed in a small town newspaper is key to understanding the much larger story. So they were identifying that this resolution was strange of them marking out everywhere that it said indigenous and then making it into Negro. And the people that were notifying it were people like Rusk, it says on here. And we go on later, again, there were multiple other ones about the influx of money that was coming in from the Ford Foundation. The Ford Foundation was giving millions and millions of dollars if it would only go to Negroes and no one else. And the Urban League was the largest recipient of the Ford Foundation's funds during that era. So in the expose article, we give you a breakdown of the influx of money. This is not coming from me. This is coming from the Ford Foundation. Ford Foundation grants to select civil rights organizations. The National Urban League is the blue one. As you can see, they started with $1 million when nobody else even got $1 million. This is including the NAACP and the Southern Christian Leadership, the SCLC, all of them. Look at how the money started flowing from 1965 to 1970. One of them was on a trajectory all the way up, getting all the money because they were taking a public stance of selling out the indigenous people, as well as a public stance of not supporting Vietnam, a public stance of not being controversial. Because if we take a step back, we have to understand that there was a great threat that was coming up in 1965 and 66, aka the Black Panthers. The Panthers and that younger energy was coming in that was causing a problem. So that's why the Ford Foundation wanted to throw money, no different than what Soros does today, right? It's the same game plan. They'll throw money at it and say, make this go away. And you have the Negro organization saying, we will be the Negroes that you can trust if you just, wet our beak a little bit and keep us happy. And we can keep the Negroes happy. So in all of that were the erasure of the indigenous people that we're talking about. So that's why these things are being addressed. This is just one part of the series. The next part of the series of what we were dealing with, again, this is just a brief overview. Feel free to go to firsttribenation.com to get all the information. But we also started to give you the breakdown of the Boule, right? The Boule is, of course, an organization, the hidden hand of the Boule, how Black gatekeepers helped eugenics rewrite indigenous history. These Boule organizations worked in conjunction with very powerful people in the government and outside the government. Let's get a brief breakdown of what the Boule did and how they were complicit.
The Boule Secret Society, capital DOUL''E, it is a Black skulls and bones. They are worse than any skin, and they are worse than any Klansman. On the 15th of May of 1904, in the city of Brotherly Love, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the hometown of the Prince Masonic Order, the Boule Secret Society was formed by 9 Negroes. Okay? Now, these 9 Black men, beginning with Dr. Henry McKee Minton, and the last one, Dr. W.E.B. Du Bois, who was the biggest sellout because he was the one who had betrayed Black America in a twofold way, actually a threefold way. Number one, Dr. W.E.B. Du Bois, who's revered in the annals of Black American history and throughout the Black diaspora, worked with Margaret Sanger of Planned Parenthood. And he told Margaret Sanger in 1928, a year before she set up shop on the corner of Malcolm X, which is now Malcolm X Boulevard and 125th Street, which is 125th and Lenox Avenue in Harlem. If you want to gain access to Black America, you have to target the Black pulpit. These churches, okay. So in 1929, the Harlem Pastoral Alliance, 500 Black ministers from Harlem and from around the 5 boroughs of New York City were paid off by this witch, this whore, Margaret Sanger, who herself had 3 children. 2 of her children did not belong to her husband. One belonged to H.G. Wells, okay, and the other one belonged to Cecil B. DeMille, the Hollywood director. And she said the worst place for a Black child to be is in his or her mother's womb. Okay, these people are driven by the demons of Genesis 6, the fallen angels. Okay, so the Boule Secret Society, May 15th, 1904, started with Rockefeller Foundation money. Okay, whereas the term the talented tenth did not come from Dr. Du Bois, it came from John D. Rockefeller, who gave it to Du Bois. Now, for your listeners, they may be wondering, what is the paradigm of the talented 10th? That the Boule Secret Society would be the conduit which they would choose 1 out of 10 African-American men and women of a lighter hue to represent the masses.
So that lays further context to what the Boule's role was in establishing, again, we're talking about the leader of the Urban League as being Boule. Of course, Martin Luther King was Boule. W.E.B. Du Bois was Boule. Vernon Jordan. Key people, Whitney Young. These are all key people. We deal with Negroes and birth control by W.E.B. Du Bois, Ph.D. These are the articles that he wrote in his conjunction. We supply you with the letters from Margaret Sanger to W.E.B. Du Bois. Margaret Sanger being saluted by the Ku Klux Klan. She was one of their poster children, right? These people were working in conjunction with her. And we know that birth control or abortion has killed over 14 million Black people in America since 1973 alone. Killed over 14 million people. It's an entire nation of people that Margaret Sanger has ushered into. We have, again, the letter from Sanger to W.E.B. Du Bois supplied to you. We also show you Martin Luther King receiving the Margaret Sanger Award. His wife is the recipient on his behalf. That was the second part of the expose. You can read all the details and the documentation being supplied to you. Third part of it was dealing with the official gatekeepers, right? Again, supplying you with all of the documentation to make sure that everything is being put into fruition so that it may be addressed. Why the Urban League, Friedman, and ADOS are arguing about the wrong enemy. The same dog bit us all. This black gate with the National Urban League on it and the two dogs in front keeping the masses out. We give you the breakdown again, reiterating that these people not only changed indigenous citizens into Negro. No. We're talking about in the here and the now. So we talk about the people that were challenging it in real time. This person was Tucker. He was of Washington, D.C. Urban League. He was the person who put in the indigenous to make sure that the urban Indians can be represented. He said that it was weasel worded. This is what the newspaper is calling it, the Akron Beacon. They weasel worded the word when the word indigenous was substituted for the word Negro. This is all illegal. These people were getting billions and billions of federal dollars, erasing the urban Indian. I hope you understand what's being revealed to you. So in this, the Urban League now, in real time, told the government to reject FBA, ADOS, and Friedman proposals. They contacted the OMB directly, and they told them to include all immigrants as Black, put them all in the black bag, make them into the one big nigga, so that the League can get the federal money and control anybody claiming to be Black. And the OMB agreed. We supply you with the link and the letter from the Urban League to the OMB, where all you have to do is simply click on it and go to the Urban League itself, to the news release of what they wrote to the OMB. It gets no freaking easier than what's being supplied to you. Also, we wrote an open letter to the FBA, to the Friedman, to let you know. We give you the timeline of when this all took place. But in the open letter to the urban Indians, we write this letter in the spirit of clarity, respect, and responsibility to future generations. See, you may be arguing with somebody online and you're not even looking at the big picture, of the future generations that are being robbed right now. For too long, our communities have been encouraged, sometimes subtly, sometimes overtly, to view one another as competitors for recognition. So we wrote an open letter saying that if you really want to address who the enemy is that's keeping you back, it's not the Indians that you keep on attacking in those rooms. The enemies that you should be focusing your attention on is the same dog that bit us. You're just misguided and misinformed of who your open enemy is. So we wrote you this letter to let you know that we're willing to speak with you. And if you are moving in the same direction as we are and really trying to get remedy, then we have given you the opportunity to do so. And lastly, one of our most recent articles is we have submitted our information and we are ready to take it to court. And the urban Indians demand accountability from the Urban League. We're willing to take it all the way. We have everything prepared and ready. So with the newly assembled archival records from 1966, references to Indigenous citizens, urban communities were replaced. We have now stepped forward and submitted our information, demanding the accountability, and the lawful process will take place. So you can get the information at firsttribenation.com. We are not just representing ourselves in this lawsuit. We are representing anyone who has signed their name on the petition. And I think that's a perfect way to segue on an update with the petition. And I yield the floor.
Thank you so much for that. It doesn't get any plainer than that, ladies and gentlemen. Doesn't get any plainer. You know what our intent is with the Urban League. And it's out there. Maybe you might need a second to marinate on it. I'm okay with that. Dr. Nolan, how you feel?
I think for me, the biggest piece in that, right, is the administrative ethnocide part. I think that is the most telling, the most egregious, and the most insidious. That this was also part and parcel to state policy, because we have to remember what was going on 100 years before that. When we look at, the political, economic, ideological, structural underpinnings of this, the goal after the Union won the war was to turn everything, the U.S., into a industrial hegemon, meaning they needed bodies in them goddamn factories up north. And to know that 100 years later, that the Urban League was like, yes, 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 we will be your marionettes, and we will ensure that you get bodies in these cities, in these factories, in these Amazon warehouses. We will ensure that we will continue to facilitate that for you. And if we need to reclassify these folks, we will, and we won't even tell them.
Yeah, and you can tell.
Because they thought they was going to get away with it. Give them a round of applause. Put some hand claps in, because they thought they was going to get away with it until they came across Urban Indian Heritage Society. That's what I think of.
If it wasn't for those meddling Indian kids.
They little Indian dogs. Yeah, that's us.
In these articles, when you read about it, the way they described the people that were going into the cities, they use it as a slur. They would call it fresh off the farm Negroes, is what they would call it. Like these bourgeois Boule people would use that as an insult, as if you were lesser than because you were quote unquote fresh off the farm. That's the way they would always describe it. It was so disrespectful that you really thought that you could just, with no consent, erase people and then get the money as if that was something that you were legally allowed to do. Understand that when they were moving the urban renewal program was the moving of Negroes, but it's illegal if you're tied to the land. So when you remove someone from their indigenous identity, you're removing them from their birthrights and their identity and their culture. You have to have consent to do that. That's the key word, consent. They detribalized you instantly so that they could get the federal funds when they had a fiduciary responsibility to be ethical of how you were supposed to be represented. But we'll deal with it. I'm going to see you on that.
Yeah, none of that happened. Nothing ethical happened. Some of that land is also now Lincoln Center and places that are, have been enjoyed by these people that have donated to these same organizations that have held us back. And they get to enjoy these beautiful things. They made people move, and Lincoln Center went up. There's a couple of things that happened. What else about the Urban League? There's something else that you I would like for you to expound on the World Trade Center. Can you give us a little bit on that?
Well, when they were making their moves, again, we have it on the articles that are on the site, that influx of billions of dollars that were coming into the inner city, they were already planning for new things to be developed in the urban cities. And one of the things that Whitney Young was always telling them about was the reason why we have to get this money is they're going to be putting some things in our communities. They've promised us they'll be doing some things that's going to benefit us. And it was the incoming of the World Trade Center. So they started using the weapon in order to use the federal government to move people out, right? Eminent domain. And then making sure that the things that they wanted to do, that they can make room for that. So that was the motivation in these major cities of moving people out so that the government can put people in. And that was the reward. Get rid of those indigenous people so that we can then have the right to use eminent domain and move them out. And you'll see these relationships that are taking place. Absolutely.
Wow.
Now,
wow.
There was a delegation that was recently sent to the southern location that both of y'all got a chance to participate with. Talk to me. Give us the updates, y'all. What happened on the recent trip that y'all took with the delegation?
Oh my goodness. Nothing short of magical. Chief is just so royal and regal in her own way. She is herself all
What
the time.
chief we talking about? What chief?
We are talking about Chief
Can I just
Queen
add real
Chief
quick?
Warhorse.
Yes, we have to get used to having American royalty, y'all. We have to get used to that.
Indeed. Queen Chief. Yes, hereditary bloodline. Shata. Very important. Well, I ain't gonna hold them. Let's get the article up. Hold on now.
Yeah, talk to him, Moon. Talk to him.
While Moon's pulling the article up, it was outside of Chief getting to meet the folks of Slidell, of Bonfica, of West Florida, and just seeing how they interact with Chief, how they extend so much respect and understanding and just deference for her. From anybody, from the regular Latina lady that we might run into on the street to another person of Chifuncta, that's American Indian, your regular, degular, um, you know, MAGA Republican. Everyone respects Chief in that area. So I just thought that was amazing to see. You can go ahead, Mo.
Yeah, that was it in a nutshell. I'm actually getting ready to pay for the subscription to the New Orleans paper so I can get beyond this paywall so I can post this article. I can certainly read it because there's no paywall from the link that I have on my phone. But excuse me, what stood out to me the most important part was that the council 9-0, 9 people were in favor of this happening. The interesting dynamics that Chief has, again, with the way that people, the reverence that they have for her, it is the respect, the admiration by everybody from every walk of life, every demographic. Pretty amazing. Shout out to Homewood Suites. They showed us so much love. Chief wasn't even there. We had a fantastic breakfast spread for us the day that some of the members had to go back to their respective homes. It was just the love from the city of Slidell, from Bonfaka. And again, 9-0 of the council wanted this to happen and did the right thing. Let's talk about how them doing the right thing affects us. And hopefully it is contagious nationwide, where a lot of these politicians, cities, towns, villages, states, want to do the right thing by the Indian. And again, this is also for economic purposes, right? That was also a huge thing for the tribe to be a part of the economic growth of an entire parish is huge. Much respect, much love to Chief and to those beautiful people out there, and to the former Tea Party people that are in support of doing the right thing and being on the right side of history. Shout out to the Republicans. And they all call you racist, but we see something completely different in this area. And again, I hope it's contagious. Yes,
Yeah.
indeed.
Yeah, I would like to just share just a little sample, a snippet of kind of what took place at the meeting that y'all got a chance to attend. May I just share the screen right quick? Just a short little clip from Chief. Maybe they can kind of get a feeling of kind of what took place. Such a historic moment.
Sure. Hold on 1 second.
No problem, cousin. Take your time. This is just a little short clip that's coming up. Can y'all see it okay?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. So let's see what we got here for you.
I would like to go a step farther. Parish President, you say I come knock at the door when I want to knock. I'm knocking, and this time you all answered. Thank you. There will be a museum as of Tuesday. We will be in a meeting with the city of Slidell, and the old train depot will become Bonfaka Museum. The Lieutenant Governor, his office and staff have been placed at our exposure here in the parish to make whatever happen is what he said. So one thing that's going to be happening is he's lending us the anthropologists. We are putting in to return the Shafunkta treasure, which people call artifacts. A lot of stuff was removed from Fontainebleau, which was the Shafunkta site. And we have requested our stuff back to St. Tammany, along with a lot of other stuff that was removed.
So again, that gave you a nice little sample of what y'all got a chance to see firsthand. And I definitely just commend y'all so much. It's such a beautiful moment. Thank you.
It was honestly so surreal just to be there and to experience that and to see everyone in the room, even the people, it, even the folks that didn't agree with Chief, be compelled to clap and give her applause and
Excuse me,
accolades,
a standing ovation from the crowd.
standing ovation. They told Chief she would have 3 minutes. They told her 3 minutes only. I timed it. They gave her 12 minutes.
Yeah,
And
definitely
no
much
one
respect.
objected.
Much respect to the city of Slidell. I definitely agree with
Absolutely.
both of y'all of being on the right side of history and investing in the future, right? It's something that's
Yes.
productive, it's something that's necessary. Malcolm X said that history is best qualified to reward our research. History, right? To preserve history, that's what lays a foundation for your future, an accurate history. So for American Indians to be able to really, be represented, and for our delegation to be included, to be in that special moment with the great works of Chief Warhorse and her supporters and those who work with her in the tribe, it's an absolutely priceless moment. Salute.
Yes, indeed.
It's surreal.
Yes, indeed.
I can't even find no words to really describe it, y'all. Just surreal, and it
Right.
sets the foundation, right? Or as we know it, legal precedent for the reclassified, misclassified, disenfranchised American Indian.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. No BIA involved either. We don't need anything from them. She doesn't desire anything from the BIA. They have nothing. She doesn't want a casino. So, yeah, let's put that out there. And I want to also make it clear that this is not just a proclamation. It is actually an ordinance. It is in the law. It's in the law.
That's a
And that law
difference.
was voted 9-0.
You
There's
can
that.
contact anybody's city clerk, county clerk, and get a proclamation passed. People do it all the time. Am I right?
Yeah, this is not like no key to the city
Right.
recognition type thing. No, we're talking about an actual. This is a historic site, and part of it's being converted to a museum, and the upper levels an actual research center, as well as a conference, location. So this is, yeah, no, this is not a proclamation. This is not what we're talking about here. Just to be clear. And you're correct. It's not with the BIA or anything that's like that. These are relationships of a chief dealing with the government in order to make sure that things are being done on behalf of the tribe and the city.
Right. And not
think
just
that I think that makes that a government to government relationship.
Indeed. So
absolutely. And Chief made it very clear in that speech a little bit later that this wasn't just, municipal and county or parish regional thing. This was something that she's been in liaison with the lieutenant governor as well.
that's correct. And not just with the lieutenant governor, as she mentioned, and what she said was dealing with anthropologists that will be assisting her
That's
in the
right.
recovery of artifacts. Also, working in conjunction with local universities like Xavier University and the students that will be there in order to assist in the future. So these are active things that are taking place with the museum, not having to come to the public like other people who have built, a beautiful museum also, but it was not necessary for those $1 million people to have to come up with that type of money when you have a government to government relationship. She's respected in the government in order to have that. It was the White House who came to her when they were dealing with the FEMA situation, and she was working in conjunction with the Army in order to help the residents of her area, right? So that was the White House coming to her in order for her to help establish those type of programs. Chief is a very, very powerful queen. We recognize that, and so does the government.
Yes, indeed.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, what else we got? We're going to talk about these Alaska natives who They only seem to exist in America when oil or military bases are involved, if you ask me. But why are 200 and almost half of the 575 federally recognized tribes include Alaska Natives? Yeah, colonial administration, I guess, disguised as modern governance, but we don't need their land. And I got a problem with their people eating off our tax dollars. I most certainly do. I don't know how y'all feel, but
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah, I think that that's something else coming down the pike that we will have to most certainly deal with. Let me just get this little video file for you guys.
Well, Moon, would you be able to show the video that I sent you from?
Yep, that's what I got.
Yeah, this video that we'll be watching, it's a video from journalist Chris Rufo and Steve Bannon. They're discussing ongoing waste, fraud, and abuse. And they also explain how the Alaska Natives are tied up in this. And guess what, y'all? They are not the only tribe.
There have been cases, certainly there are cases of fraud, cases that have been prosecuted, but there's been no comprehensive audit of all of these approved minority contracting firms ever. And we know it's rife with fraud. We know this is part of it. The other dirty detail or wrinkle that I heard from administration officials and others with knowledge, inside knowledge of the program is that, a lot of this money goes to the state of Alaska, where there are Native Alaskan tribes, and there are these shell companies where private companies run by people from all different backgrounds use kind of token Alaska Native firms to keep this flow of billions of dollars over time, tens of billions of dollars going. And there are senators in Alaska who are very intent on keeping this spigot open. These are Republicans, at least one Republican senator in Alaska. And so everyone is in on this scam. I think everyone knows that it's a dirty business. It's totally corrupt, totally unjust. But I think it needed the attention, because what's really happened is that it fell under people's radar. It's not a headline story for many people. There's a lot of exciting things happening in the news. But the reason I wanted to draw attention to it is because this should be an easy layup for the administration. We don't do DEI. We don't do race-based decision-making. It's gone. That's what I'd like to see, and I'm optimistic that we'll get there.
Yeah, no, and particularly we talked about the $2 trillion deficit today. What best?
Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed. There's that.
Mm-hmm.
There's that. A lot going on with those Alaska Natives.
Mm-hmm.
Fraud being one of them.
Yep.
And there's no statute of limitations. So we're going to circle back to that at some point and have some expound a little further on, how to
Yes, we are.
strategize, because that affects us as well.
It absolutely does, and it really shows the 1984 style psyop that's happening, because when we raise issues like this that go in alignment with the current administration's effort on waste, fraud, and abuse, not saying that we support everything part and parcel 100% of this administration, but a clock's right twice a day. And when things like this are pointed out in terms of waste, fraud, and abuse, in terms of how it affects American Indians, people just get quiet or retort with something different, the opposite.
Yes, sir, Doc. That's true. That is so true.
It's just a part of the whole mass formation psychosis that I see happening right now. But I just wanted to add those 2 cents. Appreciate you showing that.
Absolutely. I wanted to just briefly mention a little bit about Greenland. Greenland is a part of the Americas. I think people are they may not be aware. It's just been under Dutch control the same way St. Croix, St. Thomas, and St. Vincent was. And they still have the names Frederickstad and Christianstad and Those are still the names of the major places there in those territories that went from Dutch to French, back to Dutch to British, and now part of the United States. I think it would be wonderful in our lifetime to participate in some of the contracting opportunities that would be made available with Greenland becoming a part of the United States. Just the things that we would be able to do economically, I think for the American Indian would be very lucrative. I think it's a very interesting idea, and definitely something that I'm following. I'm pro-America, period.
Facts. Very good point.
Yes, indeed. Those federal contracting opportunities. This is, and we talked about this, Moon. This is the part of 1964, 1968 that really went over folks' heads in terms of changing their economic situation. And because it went over so many people's heads, including my own, up until a certain portion, until I really started to look at business and commerce as an Indian. But this is the part that we really have to wrap our brains around is, if this comes through, what types of business services, what types of wares are you are you able to offer the federal government? U.S. government is the biggest doer of business. Why not get in on it?
Right.
Why not change your
Absolutely.
family, your tribe's economic situation? It just makes sense
Change
to
their
me.
whole financial trajectory. Absolutely. Absolutely. And just keep in mind, again, that's an American Indian land. I want to keep that very, very clear. And Denmark is just the administrator, not the origin of those people, right? Colonial control does not change any continental realities that people may have. Yeah.
Very valid point.
I
I don't
think.
know if, I'm sorry,
Go
go
ahead,
ahead,
brother.
doctor. No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think that ties back into the whole. We talked about the theory of terra nullius before and how certain um, stories and paradigms, especially the Danes, how they've inserted the history of Eric the Red and Leif Erikson, very poignant and and very valid histories and epistemologies. And we know that when they got there, that land wasn't barren. It wasn't terra nullius. There were individuals that were American Indians that inhabited that land. So I just wanted to wake that up real quick, just because sometimes we get this notion, right? This glare, this veil over our eyes. That I forgot. Yeah, the Danes administer it. So appreciate you waking that up, Moon, because sometimes folks forget that it was even individuals there before 1000 AD.
Yeah,
You go ahead, brother Ish.
that's a valid point. And even through science and DNA, they've identified that there's indigenous DNA that was taken back to Greenland and to the Iceland, back to the Vikings' homeland. So when they came here, they took women back, right? And those women had children. And the
Absolutely.
DNA has been found back in those ancestral Viking homelands of them coming over 1,000 years before Columbus, so that interaction was taking place already. We, as far as urban Indians, we deal with a proper timeline, historical timeline. We don't just go with the soundbite of it starting in 1492. We deal with the reality of what was taking place of indigenous people going over to Europe before Columbus came here, as well as for Vikings and for Asian people that were already in these Americas well before Columbus. That's the timeline and time that we're on.
That's facts.
Absolutely. What is next? Oh, Big congratulations for the first Native American elected to congressional seat in the state of Connecticut.
Yo, can we get some fire in the chat? Can we get some fire? Let's fire it up. Yes. More fire, more fire. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Congratulations, Representative Pemberton.
Yes, congratulations.
Let's check this clip out. Oh boy, I'll tell you, between him and Chief, they done set the internet on fire.
Ooh,
the court of opinion.
W's.
Mad at mad, because mad is mad at mad.
Congratulations.
There you go.
And at the state capitol, the first Native American was sworn into the Connecticut General Assembly. Representative Larry Pemberton Jr. elected last week in a special election to represent the 139th House District in Eastern Connecticut.
I really look forward to doing work for the district and my community.
I would just like to thank the people that helped my dad on this path of door knocking, putting down signs, and a lot more.
State leaders and members of Connecticut's tribal communities were in attendance at the ceremony today.
All right. Yes, indeed. Shout out to Larry Pemberton Jr. in the state of Connecticut. Yes,
now,
indeed.
If you mad, you a straight hater.
Yes,
but if you
indeed.
Happy, you American Indian. But if you mad,
that's right.
that little stinging feeling you got right there in your heart, yeah, that's the hate. Yeah, you gotta get that about you.
That's right. Oh, they were so upset behind that, but for their own reasons that they really, truly should be ashamed of. However, what a sight. What a sight. Yeah, and that conducts all our urban Indian news business we got going on. I definitely might be over on another platform because there's some things that we have to address, and it's not journalistic, it's more tribalistic, if you know what I mean. So probably be doing something over there a little later. But as always, it's a pleasure. And I know there's plenty other things to talk about too. So give them something to look forward to for the next episode. Shout out to you, brothers of truth and knowledge and information and receipts. My goodness. I'm very excited about that. Very, very excited.
I only have one more thing, y'all.
Absolutely. Go for it.
I'm wondering if you could pull up the petition.
Oh, I sure can. Yes, let's give them the metrics. Absolutely.
Yes, we're very pleased with the updates.
Rubbing my hands like Stevie J.
Oh, yeah, you're Birdman. You're in Birdman mode.
We think y'all will be thoroughly impressed with what we pull up regarding the petition.
Yeah, everybody been so diligent working behind the scenes and really just kind of everyone doing their part. Very, very proud of y'all.
Absolutely. And just the new comments in itself, it's like with the ongoing months, it's the petition is much like a wine. Like the longer we let it go, like it just has so many additional notes and undertones and just the words and comments that people have begun to leave. Boom, there it is on screen, y'all.
Absolutely. Smash through that 10,000 barrier.
Yep.
Past the 11,000 and counting with new, signatures every day. Again, as we stated, it's now moving into the legislation side of things for things to get addressed properly, lawfully, not emotionally, and just growing, just getting stronger and stronger. Just like the people that you see marching and the fists that are up, the same. That's we on the move, yo. Oh man, that's powerful.
11,129 for folks that might just be listening, not able to see the screen right now. That is the current total of the petition for misclassified people in North America. We'd like to thank all of y'all for signing, sharing, and even leaving a comment or two. Don't know if there's any VIPs that we'd like to thank as well.
Yes.
For sure.
Definitely want to thank Chief Warhorse because she actually has the written petition.
She does.
Right. For the people that would be doing the manual signatures. Definitely want to shout her out.
Yep.
Also, some other things we're looking forward to. We will be planning a trip to the museum for the grand opening somewhere in the month of May. Okay. So we'll be putting, you'll start to see some of those things. We have the rooms blocked off, things of that nature. We definitely going to make sure we down there in full support of the first museum for Black Indians. I'm super excited.
And also, I would be remiss. We had a really good public conversation with the rapper King Los.
Yes, we did.
King Los supports the petition. He put his name on it. He's also going to be posting it on his Instagram page. I think he has over 300,000 followers. So shout out to King Los.
Shout out to
He
King Los.
identifies his indigenous history and been very supportive to Phoenix Moon and just in general. So shout out to King Los.
Absolutely. Well, I know it's football time soon, so I know my brothers ain't got too much time to be messing with us on this good Sunday. Cousin Ish, thank you so much for your patience. I know you've been ready to do this broadcast for quite some time. Doc, thank you so much for your presence. I want to shout out of the Fab Five at Urban Indian Heritage and all of our members, our founding members. We appreciate you. Everybody that was on that trip to Bonfaka, might as well pack your bags because we be going right back real soon. And this time, we're going to take the train in. So I'm trying to see what kind of packages we can get because I ain't going to lie to you. I want a sleep car. Okay.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, we're going to have that. And it's going to be a perfect time of year around there. So stay in touch with us. Like, share, subscribe, Urban Indian. And we're also on Facebook. Hit us up on the Facebook page as well. Show us some love. Send us around. Get us in the algorithms over there. It is really good to see y'all. I want to thank you all for joining us today. And you know what it is. You take care of yourselves, take care of each other. And if not us, then who? And if not now, then when? And we all know that what Grandma said.
Grandmama told me I had Indian in my family. Grandmama told me I had Indian in my family. I ain't know nothing about no damn slavery, you know. It was on my square a couple years ago. Then I found out I was a block foot to let me go. Daddy Jack. Round the world, all I'm indigenous. I'm from behind the clan, American Indian. We came in the land from my ancestors, the villages, from the raping and the pillaging, from the Jim Crow laws killing us. The land rights, the birth rights, these pilgrims are still stealing them. With the Arabs and the Asians in the neighborhood stealing them.